Hello, this is video 5 of 10 on a series of videos that we did the 25th of March, the year 2020. It's now the 28th of March. I'm doing the voiceover from my computer room. We're on Murdoch Drive and we're going to Lovell Road. I was trying to think of the time. I think it's between 1 and 2 o'clock right now, because we packed a lunch. When we left the house, we had decided that we were not going to stop anywhere. We were going to stay in the automobile. It being the 25th of March in the year 2020. And when you watch this video in years to come, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And the reason this is a road video and I really don't want to mention names. I don't want to get caught up into an algorithm, so it's really not that important. It's a beautiful day, fluffy clouds, and we're getting ready to turn left on Lovell Road from Murdoch Drive. We're on our way over to Kingston Pike. Once we get on down the road, I probably will have a difficult time finding some of those roads again, unless I can find a street sign as we turn, because before long we'll be taking some back roads going out into the country, roads that I had never been on before. But that's what I'm trying to accomplish with these videos, is just back roads. But to get to the back roads, you go through some familiar places like Lovell Road and Kingston Pike and Knoxville. We're crossing the interstate. There's the interstate sign, 75, 40, 275. I think that's 75 and 40. We're in West Knoxville. I get caught in the right-hand lane on the road that goes to Turkey Creek, and I'll show you how, if you're doing a road video with a little smart car, it's the only thing to have, because inevitably you'll get on a wrong road when you're out meandering around. Now I'm in the right-hand lane. I could have changed over, but some cars were coming up behind me, so I decided to go ahead and turn, and then you will see how you can maneuver with a smart car. At this point, I know that I should have stayed on Lovell Road. And there's a turn up here. There's no one behind me, so I can get over. And I come up to the stop sign, or the traffic light. I started to go ahead, but because I had the green, but the folks over there on the other side started to move in the turn lane. Watch. And now I'm headed back in the opposite direction. Like I've said before, it's difficult doing 10 videos to have something to say to fill up the audio track, and that's basically what I'm doing. Sometimes I'll start one of these videos and I'll listen to the playback, and sometimes I go in and do it again because like now I'm getting close to stopping this one and starting all over, because I get to the point to where I don't know what to say other than you'll see a vehicle, a truck, coming up to the stop sign. You can see him. Looks like his lights are blinking. What that is he has LED lights, and this GoPro is recording 60 frames per second. And it just happens that the frequency is either identical. I don't know the complete scientific explanation behind it, but I know it has to do, if you come up on a road sign, if it's more than likely doing 60 cycles per second, and the camera is doing 60 frames per second, and I'm sure that someone listening to this dialogue and watching the video has a better explanation for that than I just put it this way: I know exactly why it's happening. I probably don't know exactly how to explain it, so I won't go any farther. I think I hit it close enough till you'll pretty much realize why that truck had blinking lights. And that's a phenomenon you see quite a bit when you're using electronics. Most of these new vehicles have LED lights. And if they do, you'll see that phenomenon. The first time I saw it, that vehicle there, I think, had some LED. But the first time I saw it, I thought it was an emergency vehicle or work vehicle, and I hadn't given it a lot of thought. And then I started to think, well, now why is that occurring? And knowing my GoPro is recording 60 frames per second explains it. Somewhere I get behind a truck, their brake lights were LED lights, and I got the same effect. I didn't really mean to get down in the weeds on that, but I did. We're on Kingston Pike. What a lot of people call West Knoxville. You'll notice that the traffic and the business establishments will start to thin out in a little bit. That McDonald's that we just passed, that's the place we used to eat in the morning when we were riding with the Smoky Mountain Wheelmen on the Century Ride they have each year. It's a 100-mile bicycle ride. And a bunch of us would meet at that McDonald's and load up on as many carbs as we could before we started the bike ride. It's been quite a while since I've been by that location. You'd cut left there at that intersection and it'd take you over to Concord Park. As we continue down Kingston Pike, I don't know what road this intersection, I don't know. I'm trying to have I can't figure it out. I was trying to read that sign up there. Okay, this is Highway 70. Kingston Pike becomes Highway 70. So I'm going to start calling it Highway 70 rather than Kingston Pike now. You can see that we're starting to get out in the country. To the left there, maybe that's not the place. Fox Den Country Club is out here. I think we passed. It's hard to remember all of the places that we pass by. If I sound like I'm struggling to add some dialogue, as I told you once before, it's not easy doing this. A guy on a 3-wheel motorcycle, I wonder if he'll ever see himself on YouTube. That mall to the right there looks like everything's closed. Not for the March 2020 occurrence, but it looks like it's gone out of business. As we continue down on Highway 70, this video will end before we get off of Highway 70. It's somewhere around 1:30 or 2 o'clock because we stopped and pulled off into a church parking lot and ate our sandwiches before we continued on down the road. This GoPro, although when you have it set on wide angle, the fisheye lens makes everything bend as you go by. I believe this is near the country club. Yep, Fox Den. It's probably on both sides of the road. I'm not a golfer, so I'm not completely sure. So I'm getting down in the weeds again. I could put music behind these videos, But I determined a long time ago I didn't want to do that. And if you don't, you've got to fill your audio track up. But if you are just interested in the visuals, you can always mute your speakers. When I see automobiles pass and it looks like the wheels are running backwards, I can remember back being a young kid going to the movies and see an old black and white Western, and the stagecoach wheels would be running backwards. And that's when you discover your curiosity makes you try to figure that out. Now we know why. There's another car with its wheels running backwards. 60 frames per second. There's a point to where if you're going at a certain speed, the wheels will completely stop. It'll look like they're not even moving. Or the hubcaps. Because that's what gives you the visual effect, because you can... That Mini Cooper, his wheels were just barely turning. When you do a video 60 frames per second, it gives you a lot of leeway to slow the video down to where you can, in other words, if something happened here, I could slow my video down into slow motion. And this video number 5 of 10 is getting ready to end right here.